And we're back. Why did I forget how to use this for a second? Hi everyone. Today we're talking to Jesse McCartney, so if you have any questions, put them in the comments or the little question feature, and I'll be asking all those questions at the end. We're just waiting for him to join. There he is, sending the row. How's everybody's day? Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I've been well.
Oh, you got the little filters going on?
How's this one?
Nice.
We're gonna turn it off here. How are you?
Good. How's your Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. It's going well. I'm doing well. Katie actually just left the house. She's on her way to a bachelorette party.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, she's on her way to Nashville to go be with some friends. So I've got the house all to myself for the week.
Oh, wow. That's fun. I was just in Nashville, actually, like a couple months ago.
Very cool. What were you doing out there?
Just family vacation.
Yep.
Yeah, for the little short time.
Are you in New York? Where are you full time?
I'm in LA.
Oh, okay, cool. Very good.
Yeah. So, nice and sunny out.
It is.
Weather.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. It's I haven't had much chance to actually go outside and enjoy the summer just yet. I mean, as you know, LA's back on lockdown.
Yeah.
So it's been tough to like really do anything. Plus, I've been promoting from this very chair for like the last month. So.
Is that your promoting spot now?
It's my new promoting seat. Everyone on my team is like, you need a new room in the house. Everyone's seen your living room.
No, we love to see it. So talking about the new single, though, how has that been, putting it out and getting the fan responses for this?
It's been great. I mean, you know, we were ready to put this out over a year ago. This album was finished in the beginning of 2020, and we were ready to put it out, and obviously the world was coming to an end, so we had to sort of sit on it. But it was when I got the call, like, hey, we're ready to go, let's do this. We kind of knew right away Kiss the World Goodbye would be a good, like, good leading single. It just felt like very representative of the times. It felt like a song that was written during the pandemic, even though eerily it was written just before, so it had nothing to do with a pandemic. But it still felt like it was the right song, and the response has been great. I mean, everyone seems really stoked on it, and the video came out great, and so yeah, I couldn't be happier.
So you made the song before the pandemic, but was the video filmed during the pandemic?
The video was filmed, so the song was written and recorded before the pandemic, and then we waited and waited and waited. And once we got the call, there was like a month and a half, 2-month window where LA was like off of lockdown, and everybody could go out and make movies and make TV and do things without their masks on. That's when we shot. So we had like a small window, and now we're like worried about if we want to do a second music video or shoot a second single that we're not going to have an opportunity to do that. Actually, my Yours video, which I released at the end of beginning of 2020, that we shot that literally and finished it the day before we went into lockdown. So
wow.
Yeah, I've been like just really squeezing it in the last year.
Finding the perfect windows to film all this stuff.
That's right.
So where did the inspiration for this specific music video come from?
Where did the inspiration?
The inspiration.
Yeah. I think for this video, it was, I mean, I knew I wanted to do some kind of like Bonnie and Clyde. You know, the song has this sort of us against the world feel to it. And I had just watched Bonnie and Clyde, like the older it was like 1950s or 60s edition with Faye Dunaway and blanking on his name.
It's Warren
Anyway,
Beatty. Is
Warren
it Warren
Beatty.
Beatty?
Thank you, Warren Beatty. Yeah. So, and I like it. Just was such a cool visual, and I felt like it really matched the song. So we kind of did a modern day Bonnie and Clyde, where we knew we would have this moment where we were down on our times, and we had to do something drastic to sort of save our family. And I think that was a story. It's a story as old as time. I feel like people can really get behind, you know, doing anything really if it means you're going to protect or take care of your family. So we worked with two incredible music video directors, Max and Madison, who are actually a brother and sister duo, and they filmed this whole thing and did such a fantastic job. We did the whole video in just a day, which is incredible when you look at it. But yeah, so that was the inspiration, and I think we really executed it well.
Yeah, to have that whole thing done in a whole day, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's like a mini movie.
Yeah, it felt like it, and it was boiling. It was like 97 degrees the day that we were shooting out in the middle of Palmdale, California, in the desert, and we managed to get it done.
Dang. It's been a while since you released a full-length album, 7 years. So what made now the perfect time to release, in your opinion?
I was just done writing. Like, I had been writing for, I don't know, a couple of years at that point, and I feel like I had said everything I wanted to say, and I don't really rush projects, as you can tell. 7 years is like an eternity in pop music, but I just feel like, and I've said this before, but I feel like the stories that are written on albums happen in the in-between time, right? So you need those years to go by. You need life to happen to be able to write, you know? And so I was really just kind of enjoying my life, to be honest with you, just my best, you know, trying my best to enjoy the new relationship that I was in, the big move, moving in with somebody, getting a house, and traveling quite a bit, and just all those things have to happen, I feel like, in order to write something meaningful and something that is going to be relatable. And this album in general, I think, touches a lot on sort of my relationship with Katie and the ups and downs of a music career as a young teenager, and then growing into my 20s and now 30s. It's a very good it's a reflective take on sort of my life, and I think hopefully it won't be another 7 years though for the next one. I think it's a little too long.
Just a little bit, yeah. I would have to agree. But when you released your last album, was that a conscious decision that you made once it was out and you were done touring that? Were you like, I'm gonna take a step back?
I don't know that it was conscious. I think it was just, I also did other things. I was on a TV show for a couple seasons. I wanted to explore more acting projects. I tried my hand at writing some of my own television projects, and, there were some other things I just wanted to do. And, as an artist, I think people obviously know me mostly for my singing and songwriting, but I think, I do a lot of other stuff too. And so it's hard to do all of it at once and keep, it's hard to keep the musical boat floating when there's like 15 other projects that are, that you've been that are kind of sinking, that you're like, okay, I need to focus more on these things. So, no, I don't think it was conscious. I think I just was doing other stuff and really just having too much fun with my life.
But your life obviously has made you a better songwriter, would you say?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like I said, anything anything you can pull from real life inspiration. And I feel like as you get older too, you're just naturally a wiser person. You've lived longer, you know more things. You have been in more relationships, with romantic or otherwise, and I think that allows you to just be able to pull from a deeper well.
To go back to when you were just a singer, was there a conscious or something that happened to where you had a life experience and you were like, this would make a great song, that made you want to dip into songwriting? Or was it being a singer, seeing all these songwriters and producers around you maybe that inspired you? Do you remember writing your first song?
The first song I wrote, I think, was She's No You, with two writers by the name of Matthew Gerard and, man, this is going to be hard. I can't think of the other gentleman's name, and I feel terrible. Hopefully he's not watching. I don't think he is. Aaron something. Anyway, I was 16, and before that I had written a lot of crummy, like really not so good songs. And I feel like I needed that co-writing experience and collaborating, you know, that collaborative effort to really understand how a song is written. And but I knew I wanted to do it, and I felt like as long as I was making my own album, I might as well be a part of it, and you know, in a creative way, other than just singing. And that's kind of when I got the bug. I feel like She's No You, when I wrote this song, She's No You is so, when you listen to that song, it's such a tribute to the songs that I was clearly listening to at that time, which is like Craig David, Daniel Bedingfield, who else? Just maybe even John Mayer. Like mainly Craig David, to be honest with you. The Born to Do It album, I feel like I was just cycling that album over and over before going into the Beautiful Soul album. So you can hear it in that writing, and I just kind of learned from working with those guys just how to format a song, and how to arc a storyline, and how to start here and then end here, and what the bridge means and what you want to do there, and how you need a musical change here, and obviously the evolution of pop music in general has changed so much, and I've been a part of that on the front lines now for over 15 years, but I do remember that first moment of being in the studio, and definitely feeling intimidated because I'd never written a song before. But the guys were just super cool and made me feel like, hey, let's hear your ideas, And I think when you go into any writing room, you have to be, like, a lot of times in LA, I'll walk into writing rooms with people I've never met before, and we'll sit down, we've never met, I don't even know their last name, and we'll write the most intimate song you could imagine. And I think that's just kind of like a songwriter thing, It's just kind of like hey, we're here to work, and let's do something great. Let's put our shit aside and just like do something great, So yeah.
Do you find a different sense of accomplishment or emotions when you release a song that that you wrote compared to one song that you didn't?
Sure. I mean, you take pride in your work like anything else, And so when you write a great song and you know it's good, and then of course when it connects, that's like the ultimate, when it really connects or becomes a hit song, that's like a different level of euphoria. But because it came from your brain, nobody knew this information until you decided it was going to exist, So it's like, it definitely, it's definitely a prideful moment. And of course, look, I totally love and I enjoy singing songs that I've never written. I did a stint on The Masked Singer on season 3, and I basically sang a bunch of songs that I've never written. And I take a lot of joy in singing great music too. If the song is good, another writer can appreciate a good song and also want to sing a great song. But it's definitely a little extra special when you've written it.
So once a song is out and then you start to think about your tour, do you have specific thoughts in mind when you're creating that you're going to be like, oh, this would be great if I match this with maybe this song? Or how do you lay it out?
You mean on stage?
Yeah.
So when you're putting together a stage show, there's a number of things that go into play. And obviously, actually, I'm doing that as we speak. But, I think, are you talking about like creatively lights and stuff, what that looks like with each song?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, obviously the first thing, at least for me, I mean, a lot of artists change their set list every, in the middle of the tour. I like a really polished tour. So I go in with the set list I'm going to play for 22 or 24 shows. Like and that's what I play the whole time. And very rarely do I change it unless something's just not working. which does happen in the first few shows. But by the third or fourth show, I feel like I've got my set list tweaked and like dialed in. And it takes weeks, if not months, of prep before. So I'm already prepping now and started in June, to be honest with you, for my tour in November. And that's just like dialing in all of the new music, stripping down all the, you know, parts in the tracks that I don't need so that my musicians on stage can play them instead. So taking out certain drum sounds, taking out guitar sounds, perhaps adding certain things, right? So maybe I love the sound of a song on the album, but I feel like live it needs a little extra something. So I'll go in and I'll record more vocals, live vocals for the background tracks so that it has a more live presence. And then when you get into lighting, I'll sit down for a couple weeks with my lighting guy and we'll go over what song or what temperature of light feels good for each song. So for Kiss the World Goodbye, we'll probably have, you know, deep reds and romantic, you know, colors, you know, dark yellows and deep oranges and reds. But then for songs like Leavin', right, like some of the hit songs, we'll keep it really icy cold and do bright whites and blues and really clean lines. So you go over all that stuff and you can literally just go insane trying to make it perfect. But I do my very best. And honestly, like, there's one thing I take a lot of pride in. It's my live show. I feel like it's one of my strongest cards that I hold, and I always have the best musicians on stage, and you know, and I try to take them on a journey. I think for lack of a better term, I think that like it's for me, you know, you want to bring the audience up and then you want to bring them down, and then you want to bring them up and then you want to bring them down. So you try to throw as many up tempos and ballads back to back so that you're kind of doing this the whole time, you know? Yeah. And you can feel the wave when it's happening. And then when you feel like a little like, they're not really feeling this right now, maybe it's literally because it was after the wrong song. You know, maybe it was just like, oh, that just doesn't fit there. Or maybe they just don't like that song and then you don't play it again. But yeah, so that's kind of how it works.
Is there a specific song from this new album that you're excited to play live?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, the new single, I'm just excited to hear. It's the one song everyone knows right now. So, you know, I think it's the one that they'll be most familiar with. So, you know, getting to hear people sing a new song and know all the words for the very first time is a very special moment.
How would you sum up this new album if you could in a couple words or sentences?
I would say it's hopelessly romantic and uncharacteristically vulnerable. In just a couple words, that's how I'd sum it up. If you want a longer description, I can give you the lengthier version. I would say, you know, if there's one thing that like I'm not super good at in real life, it's just sort of letting my guard down. I like to make jokes out of everything, but when it comes to music, I think that's my one space where I can kind of get you know, real and honest for a minute. So I think this album does that, and I think you hear a lot of honesty, whether it's ugly or not, it's just honest. So so there's a lot of that as well. But you know, certainly I think the relationship that I'm in played a big role in writing this one. So
it's an open book into where you've been. Basically.
An open book, Jessica. I'm an open book.
I love that, though. I mean, I feel like those are the best songs because people can relate to them. I mean,
I think so.
You're not faking it. It's just truth.
I think so. I was listening to John Mayer's new album yesterday again for like the 6th time, and he's got a song on there that I just think is so. It like made me like I was driving in the car and I was just like, man, this is so. It's funny because he's similar in that he's kind of, there's something very hard about him, but then like as soon as you tap the shell or, you know, you find the crack in the shell, he's like this open book. There's a song he's got called Till the Right One Comes. I don't know if you've heard the new album.
Yes.
But it's sort of like, I think it's like, it's a song about how he, and now we're talking about John Mayer for some reason, but he talks about just like how people project all of their thoughts about how he's just sitting around waiting to find somebody, and then he does, or you know, but he's waiting till he does. He's waiting for the right one to come. Just a great song, but it's a great you know, I feel like I have some of that as well on this album, where it's just very vulnerable and you get an inside look as to what's tumbling around in my head, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Listening to popular music, do you get a little bit of inspiration from other artists?
Usually older artists, but sometimes, I mean, sometimes if somebody's done something very, very well, you know, I'll be like, wow, I want to do something similar to that. You know, I love that sound that he was going for, and those pianos, or those, I love those synth sounds. Like, I remember when Stranger Things first came out, there's the instrument that's playing that intro music, that it's called a Juno, and it's a very famous synthesizer, and I just remember thinking, like, I want to use that on a song. And then I went into the studio. I don't know if that song ever went anywhere, but you know, it happens all the time where you'll hear something, you know, sometimes I'll hear like the overtone of something, like, I know this sounds funny, but like just the sound of like a slot machine in Vegas, like you'll hear a certain thing that goes off in the machine, and it's like, and it keeps repeating, and you're like, damn, that kind of sounds like a vibe, you know what I mean? And it's like, and it's just a slot machine going boom, 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 boom. And I'll like put my phone up to it, and I'll be like, I'm just, people are like, sir, put your phone away. We're in Las Vegas. You can't have your phone out. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is art. But yeah, I mean, it catches you when you least expect it, and it happens at the most inconvenient time sometimes. But I think, you know, that's part of the fun in it. It's just being prepared at all times for something cool to hit you in the face.
That's awesome. Okay, now we're gonna go into the Q&A portion.
Q&A. That's
someone asked, "What's your favorite?" Huh?
Nothing. It was a bad joke.
What's your favorite Dream Street song?
My favorite Dream Street song. Hold on, I want to do something funny. My favorite Dream Street song is, I'd probably have to say, Gotta Get the Girl. You know, that was like my first solo song. So that was like the only solo song I had.
I have to give my roommate a shout out as well, because she loves Dream Street. Still listens to it today. Puts it on blast in the apartment. What's
your roommate's name?
Jen.
Hey, Jen. Shout out to Jen.
She's in the chat right now, too.
Hey, Jen. Sorry.
What's your favorite color?
Orange. Always has been.
Is there a specific reason or no?
I just like its hue.
Someone asked, how do singers...
on the spectrum, it's a good combination of red and yellow. It's right in the middle. Red's a little too red, and yellow's too yellow. I want something just right down the middle.
Perfect combination.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how do singers sing a very emotional song without crying?
How do singers do it?
Yeah.
I think when you're singing, it's actually a pretty good question, because I've been choked up by singing a song here and there, like a certain moment in my life that caught me off guard, and like I've caught myself singing, but it's very rare. I think when you're singing it, you're in the middle of a job that you're trying to accomplish, and you're focusing so much on your performance, your notes, and like the movement of the melody, that you're trying to make people cry usually, or you're trying to land an emotion on people, that you're doing too much. One side of the brain is doing too much thinking to actually get teared up while you're singing it. But it does happen. I mean, if you look at, like, this is a really sad example, but if you try to like sing at like a funeral or something, right? I guess, like, you know, it's a terrible time, and if that song reminds you of a certain place in your life, I could see why people, but generally, yeah. But I've been in the audience and I've watched artists sing, and I've gotten chills for sure, or been totally, you know, choked up.
Do you get even more choked up when you see your fans reacting to your songs?
Yeah, I think I get really emotional when I hear or see, you know, I hear a story of a fan that went through something, you know, tragic, or, you know, just really hard in their life. and there's a song that like really connected with them, and I know the story, and then I see them react to it in the audience, or you know, when I hear about certain thing that happened and they use the album to cope, that really gets me, you know, and it's like, really, like, really? And it's really nice to be able to do that for people, and it definitely can get the better of me sometimes. So,
speaking of your fans, did they know that you were the turtle?
the diehard ones for sure. I think all the people who've been following me for many years knew knew who was singing behind the mask, because I have a pretty distinct voice and also distinct mannerisms. I think the way I move on stage is pretty unique to me. So, yeah. And my mother, of course, emailed me after week 1, and she's like, "I can't believe you didn't tell me you're on the show." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, you can't lie to me. I know. I birthed.
You weren't allowed to tell anyone though? Like, no.
I didn't tell anybody. The only person that knew was Katie, because she saw me leaving the house every morning in like a mask and a hoodie. And she's like, "What is going on here?"
Yeah.
So we both had to sign non-disclosure agreements that we wouldn't tell anybody, and I didn't tell anybody. I mean, my family eventually figured it out. You know, it's your family; they're gonna know. Yeah. But you know, my secret was safe because they couldn't. You know, they knew it was a secretive show, but the fans knew. I mean, I would go on, you know, online on Instagram and YouTube and check it out, and after week 2, I think it was a lock. People for sure knew.
Yeah. Especially after like certain clues came out. We
Totally.
were like, for sure that's just McCartney. There's no way.
Yep.
Someone asked, do you have a favorite song to perform from back in the day?
I love Body Language. To me, that's like with T-Pain, like that's such a fun song, and recording that song was during like a really fun period of my life, and so every time I play it, it brings me back to working with T-Pain in the studio, and it's such an undeniable up-tempo bop, you know, like when you hear that song, everyone is just hyped in the audience and sings along, and if you ever need an up-tempo song to jam into the set, it's Body Language.
Is that the song that gets the most reactions, would you say?
It's maybe no. I mean, certainly not more than Leave In or Beautiful Soul, of course, or even She's No You, but maybe more than She's. I mean, it's up there. It's definitely among like a staple in my catalog, you know.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you, Jessica. It was great speaking with you.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the album.
Thank you so much. Me too.
And thank you for giving us so many bangers.
Aww.
Like,
well, you'll have to come to my show. I'm playing at the Wiltern at the end of sometime in December, I think, early December. It's my last show of the tour.
Well, yeah, to close out, I mean,
you got to come check it out.
It's going to be a good one.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jessica. Be safe and try to get outside and enjoy the day.
Yeah. Well, it's a work day, so, you know.
I think you can take off early today. I said so.
I'll tell my boss. I'll make sure to mention it.
Okay, good. Take care, Jessica.
Bye. Thank you.